Hello, legends. We're live and it's still dark, so I don't know if you guys can even see us because it's still dark. We're heading out. It's let me turn this thing on. Okay, all right. On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton, went into the woodlands. We took the long way towards the Alden village. We met with Team RR. We went out, researched forests on 1488. We actually were passed by Mo's group. Mo was not riding today. We went up the Mount Moriah to Karen, and we filmed all the way Jackson Road until we got to 1486. At that point, we left the group, went up Johnson Road, took Dacus, and cut through the forest on Bethel Road and took 149. Came south, stopped at Taco Corner to refuel. I was probably almost 4 hours into the ride. Went through Montgomery, came up 2854, Adui Road into Keenan, cut through the Grand Lake Estates. All of this is off camera because we had enough footage. We came down Honia Egypt Road, back into the woodlands. It was a very mild day. Beautiful day for a ride. We dropped the intensity on this ride because the whole week we didn't train. Hope you guys enjoy the clips.
Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, everyone.
We had a big turnout today.
Good morning, y'all. Get your film, Mr. Black.
I went to greet Scott. Scott hadn't been riding for a while. It's good to see him out again.
Out 1488 to 149, Jackson to Mount Moriah to the gas station, then out Mount Moriah to 1486.
Mark's giving a route.
Johnson by Jorge's right there, and then come back down to 1097.
That's Doug over there in the white Rafa kit. And this is Max in the purple jersey.
Dog. Like it. I like it.
Paul
Very
spotted
nice.
Doug's jersey.
Hey, man, how are you? Good.
Black puck.
Things here. That's all that counts. That's all.
There's Randy on the left. There's Mike in the middle here with the black and white kit.
Yeah, good.
I went around to just say hi to everybody, chat. But we usually don't get a chance to talk to everybody because once they stop, we keep going. So it's time to go. That's Dave up there in the gray kit. That's Lula in all black following Dave. That's Randy on the right. That's Mike on the right. And that's Tim in the red and white. Got to meet him for the first time. We got power on the channel this week. We got a power meter from a company called Veloharmony. It's called the Power Pod. I was very pleased with it because it was a seamless setup. You know, any electronic device, as far as picking up my speed, you have to have a speed unit on your body. It works with that, and it works with the wind, and it has something that calculates your slope and all of that. So, but it's very reliable. I just set it and forgot about it. I really don't care to monitor that thing. But it was good to see the numbers once I got back. They've got all kinds of software that you can download for analysis. So I'll check that out later, but really, I just put that on the bike to add to the metrics here. It's on the left where you saw the arrow. So I put it next to the heart rate. It has its limitations, but overall, it's very accurate compared to other string gauge power meters. This is not a string gauge power meter, but the data is consistent, and that's what matters. I put the feel for power on only one of my training pages when I did the calibration the evening before, and I just left it there. So on this ride, I had different pages to use. And some of them did not have that display. I don't really look at that much. So I want to thank all the super legends and Reed Saif and Joe Nanga and all the other supporters of the channel to be able to get this set up. Mark and I chatting early in the ride. Really no research for it. Forest Boulevard. Paul's behind us here. In a little bit, I'll wave him up and let him chat, and then I just kind of roam around. You can see when I stopped pedaling, the power goes to zero. As soon as I start, it picks back up. So it was good to see that. So once I looked at the data after the ride, I was impressed with its consistency. Having a power meter is very humbling because you think you're putting out a lot of watts, and then it tells you otherwise. And right now I'm doing 46 watts. On a lot of my recovery rides, this is the pace I hold, 25 kilometers an hour, conversational pace. So that means I'm working anywhere from 100 watts or less most of the time. I wave Paul up to chat, to join us here, and then I think I drifted. I don't know if I drifted back or I moved forward, but I wanted to kind of roam the bunch a little bit. I don't stay on the right because every time we come to an intersection, that lane is not a bike lane. You see how the curb juts out? And that's, I think about a year or so ago, almost 2 years now, Dan mistakenly hit one of those things, and he hurt himself. So when I come to the Woodlands, unless it's very, very busy, I don't go over there because you've got to start getting back in the main lane before you get to the next street. Over here, it's not so much an issue. At this intersection, it stays wide. So around here, yeah, I'll use the
scary
shoulder. I have the Rene Hurst tires on this bicycle today, and I must say, it's for real. It basically removes all imperfections from your feel as you ride. It basically dumps down all the bumps to where the bumps and even the chip seal becomes enjoyable. So those of you who don't like chip seal, we have a supporter in Frisco that doesn't like chip seal. Give the Rene Hurst tires a try, because I was able to actually, you're not going to go faster because I know you're right. It does rob your energy and on the chip seal roads, but you will be able to tolerate it more because there are times when you can't avoid them on a route. So I'm very impressed with the suppleness of the tire. And they're not the only one that have supple tires. So if you're interested in that, just do your research. I want to thank those of you who have added other tires. I think there was like a challenge tire some guy, one of the subscribers added to try. So I just kind of put that on the list. It's good to have the choices, so when they have these sales and stuff, you can take advantage of that, especially with Black Friday looming. I hope you all know that Black Friday means that we put them in the black from a financial standpoint. So without us, there is no Black Friday. Us consumers. That's why they got the name Black Friday. Those financial and CPA guys out there understand what that means. This is the guy that I spotted right away because what I noticed was that see how stable he is. The guy on the left, that's Tim. It's clear he's an experienced rider, but it was also clear that he's been away from his usual training schedule. He rode very smart on Jackson Road. He took a pull, he made it very short. He basically did everything I talk about on these videos, and so it was clear. You could see, you know. We got to chat with him after the group stopped at day because we continued to ride. He didn't want to stop either. So he's basically just trying to get his base right now. You know, based on what has occurred in his life, he's getting himself back in condition. I had seen his picture on one of the most rides this week on Friday. Mo took a picture and he talked about Tim making a guest appearance. Mo knows him well. So when I spotted him, I said, okay, I introduced myself in the parking lot. I always seek out the newest faces. Just make them feel welcome, even if they've been before. If I have not familiar with them, you get to meet new people. That's interesting. That's always interesting. I'm telling Dave, I'm up there telling Dave, go straight. Dave was going to turn right. And we're going straight today. We're going west, Mount Magnolia, and go out to Jackson Road. And today we filmed all the way to Jackson Road. We didn't have any problems. So, good footage.
Yeah.
The power pod that I'm using from Veloharmony, I'll do a review and put it on the channel. It has a lot of nice features. Some, like the standard string gauge power meters that you may have either in your pedals or cranks. They just show the actual power numbers. They're not smooth. This unit, its default, gives you something somewhat akin to what the aficionados know as normalized power. So what's showing up on the screen is kind of an average. So you don't need to select power for 3 seconds, power for 10 seconds on your unit. I just selected power, and it gives you numbers that make sense.
I like the size of that light. Your light.
Paul saying that he likes the size
like
of the headlight on that guy's bike. Yeah, right there.
Like
nice and small and thin. It looked like a cat eye or something like that. Probably a cat eye like brand. This intersection here has been like this for a long time because they're waiting for 2978. See Tim going to push the light, so this light can change. Push the button, pedestrian walk button, so the light can change for us. There's no car behind us, but they're waiting for that highway to be repaired so they can blend this intersection into it, clean it up. It's been sitting here. These barrels have been there for quite a while.
I always wonder why you guys stop so early. Because it's a cool morning. So we got 2 bottles. We're gonna use that up before you get.
We could. I could stop at Dacus instead of.
Yeah, Mark was letting us know that we're going to go 105. There's a store there, and then I tried to suggest that we don't need to stop at 105 because it's too early in the ride. It's like a little over an hour, and we got 2 bottles. It's a cool morning, and then he agreed that we can stop at Dacus, and so we did not do an official stop at the store at 105 in Mount Moriah. That was kind of nice. The frequent stops just break up the rhythm or something. Chatting with somebody over there. That's Randy. Randy's on the right. We cut through this neighborhood because it's quiet. The other group, most groups, they don't come through here much on this street. They use Egypt Lane, where we went straight. They go up to
How's your brother doing,
1488
man?
and go west then.
He's good? Okay.
I don't know if Paul would show it again, but Duck Shot got another pair of mixed socks. They look cool. He said they come like that. I like the variety of it. It's like it's just interesting. I like the way they do that. I hope we get to see it again.
No kidding.
Just pretty low pace, you know, so you can a lot of fat early. Yeah, it's pretty.
Man, 300, man. That's up there.
Next week we got a 12-hour race we're doing.
Oh yeah? Where is that at? Here or you have to go up?
Glen Road.
Oh, okay.
Up by Little Berkeley, you know where that is?
Yeah.
Dinosaur Valley State Park right there.
Okay.
Me, Greg, David, Fry.
No.
Yeah, we're all gonna do that 12 hours.
David, he rides the boat, right? Okay.
One thing about power meters, you will find that they confirm real world knowledge generally. You use more energy when you're starting, just like in your car. If you accelerate from stop sign to stop sign, you burn more fuel than when you get on the interstate or the roadways, that's the Europeans call them, and you're cruising. So the power meter, every time you stop and you're starting or you sprint or you attack, you get big watts. And once you settle, they drop. And so what that teaches you is you learn where to be efficient. I mean, just by if you're somebody who monitors the numbers, even when you come back and you're just analyzing, like right here you see 166. This road has a grade, even though it's just 1%. I'm working more than I did on research forest that was flat. So then, if you're trying to work harder, plan your routes based on that. So that's why I said that I just ride by feel, because if you pick the right terrain, you will get the work done. You will get the workout you need, depending on what you're training for. Which is why if all you do is ride flat roads, the hills are a challenge. You gotta go ride the hills to stretch your body and prepare yourself to be able to handle that. So use the power meter in that regard, and I'm sure those of you who have them probably do. Use the power meter to where you say, okay, it's windy, and when it's windy, you're gonna have to work harder for these speeds. The same thing, because it's resistance. So then you can control how hard you're working for how long and keep yourself efficient. That's why a lot of people use that. But as a rider who rides by feel, I don't depend on that, because I kind of know. I'm telling Paul that I really enjoyed the times. We've been on these roads. I come here all the time. Here's during the week when I can sneak away. I come here because it's quiet. It's always quiet. So I know how this road feels. And with the René Hurst tires, yeah, it just took it to another. It's just like the road is more fun. It's like I ended up finding myself looking for the little ripples in the pavement to ride over them to continually confirm the suppleness. It was fun. And so right now I'm gonna play with the settings on the inflation pressures on the tire to see what this casing, extra light casing, is like at different inflation pressures. And I changed them by 5 psi at a time. But I ended up just settling, after this ride, I settled for my standard 90 in the front and 95 in the rear. You don't want to go too low, you don't want squishiness, because it will affect your handling. But they're for real, so I'm very pleased. I hope they have sales and stuff, but that would be good. If they do and I find out, I will alert the channel so you guys can take advantage of them, those of you who want to try them. That's the RBC ride jersey. I don't know which year he did it and he got that. It was before we started doing it because
I'll be working my way towards that.
when we got there that year, the year we did it was white. After that, we had a storm that canceled it. The RBC Grand Fond du Lac was not well, but we still rode 100 miles. So I reoriented the temperature from where it used to be. It used to be next to the heart rate. I moved it down below the graphs. So now you can look at the graphs for heart rate and power. So the white graph is power and the green graph is heart rate. And I thought that would be a nice display to have that. How heart rate is tracking with power. But not necessarily consistent, but the trends are similar. Put out more power, you're going to be stressing your body. Right here, we're kind of drifted it back. I wanted to get everybody on camera. That's Tim going by.
Yes, sir.
It's Abby. Abby got a new bike today. It's got like a chartreuse, black and chartreuse. New frame. He got his new frame. Abby leans to the left when he rides. I'm not sure why. That shoulder leans to the left. Yeah, Paul just mentioned Abby's got his new bike. I told him I hadn't seen it. When we got to the parking lot, he showed it to me. That's nice. Yeah, I asked him if he kept the old bike, because sometimes riders will trade their bikes in or so forth. And he said, yeah, he kept the old one. I told him, yeah, it's good to have a backup. If you can afford it, have at least 2 bikes. The formula is actually N+1. N being, so how many bikes do you own? It's N+1. N being what you currently own. God willing, my next bike will come from Kish Fabrication again. I want to get a bike that I can put larger tires on, ride on gravel roads, all of that. Maybe get him to make me a gravel bike or just a road bike with a lot of clearance. And have him lengthen the top tube, because on my current bike I had to put a 15, I think, on there to get it where I wanted it to be. So I want to use maybe a 13 or 12 centimeter stem. So I may have him increase the top tube by 3 centimeters. But Kish makes precision machines. I'm very pleased with this bike. That's the orange bike that I own.
Yeah, it looks like he's sitting low. I can see.
We're setting a little bit off the back. We're in the last position right now, I believe. As I got closer, I could see the wattage drop. Look at the wattage on the screen. I wasn't watching it while I was riding. Just when I was editing the film, I started to notice that. And that's really what I use the data for, even heart rate, after the fact. And this power pod comes with, I don't know if I mentioned, Isaac software, they call it. It's kind of I call it an older style software. The installation is a little glitchy. You do have to follow the instructions properly to be successful with it. But it works on Mac and Windows. But it gives you a plethora of ways to look at your power numbers if you're into that.
Nothing significant.
Yeah.
Slight angle here.
Right.
Decent.
In a few kilometers, we'll get passed by the WCC riders. Mo is not riding with them today. I think he took the day off, because he rode yesterday with Abby and Tim, the gentleman I was talking about. So, because I guess he knew he wasn't going to be riding on Saturday, he got his ride in on the day before.
That's why I like to use it instead of being focused on it.
See where Dan is? A little to the right of Abby. It gives him a lot of visibility. He can see debris coming in between the line here instead of following Abby directly. I like the way he's following Abby. So now he has visibility around Abby. And that's the same way we're following the two of them here. I'm a little to the left of the guy in front. This is where the WCC boys come back. That's Peter. That's Christian over there. And then Jesus and Jerry.
No.
That's Fabian at the back. So Jerry stops here to chat.
You said it.
Jerry's talking with Abby. I think he noticed the new bike.
Jerry's there.
And his group is going. His group ends up putting about maybe, I would say probably half a kilometer on us before he decides to bridge up. Or maybe, yeah, it was maybe about half a kilometer.
Yeah, I saw Asana up there, man. She's still.
And Jerry bridges back up to them in a very large gear.
Did you see Christian? Did you see Christian?
Paul's asking if I saw Christian, which I did. Christian was wearing a white jersey. It was good to see that nobody here tried to chase those guys down as they went by. Because it's like, you kind of have to stick with your plan. You know, they don't always behave like that.
Gotcha.
That's cyclist for you. I took the camera from Paul because Jerry's trying to bridge up here.
Oh, he's halfway there.
You can't see him. He's almost there. He started to bridge up and then I got the camera, but it's such a wide angle. He's ahead. Yeah. So he rode back up to the guys after he chatted with Abby, who's in front of Dan.
He's there. He's there.
Yeah, there was another rider that he passed. A guy riding out here. We ended up passing him too. This gentleman on the right with the gray and chartreuse lines, his name is Sam. The guy with the helmet light that's been on the ride last few weeks. I got his name finally today.
Yeah.
I was telling Paul that I like this unit that Velocom sent because the installation was easy, and I'm glad that it came at version 3 because you never want to be the person testing the first version. They had done like a crowdfunding thing, and those were the people that worked all the bugs out for us. So now version 3, even the shape is different than the original unit that had shipped initially. It's unobtrusive. It's very easy to deal with. It weighs a whopping 44 grams or something like that. I mean, it just weighs nothing. So it just does not interfere with your setup. I like that about it. And it's easy to transfer because the way I have it set up, I'm using one speed unit that I can move from bike to bike. Just strap it on the hub of the rear wheel. So because it pairs to the speed unit, when you move it from bike to bike and you're using the same speed unit, there's no need to recalibrate. You only need to calibrate it if you're working it with a new speed unit. So one calibration is done as I move it from bike to bike. It's not going to know that it's on a different bike because the unit it paired with is the same. So that was nice, but it does handle up to 4 different bikes, and what makes it think you have a different bike is a different speed / cadence combo, if that's what you have. I just have a speed sensor. I don't have a combo like the GSC 10. This guy's just riding out here by himself as we come by. They must have cleaned his shoulder recently, or maybe the storms we had, the rains cleaned it. So we're talking about the Rene Hurst tires. This guy thought we're talking about his tire. So I let him know we're talking about tires, but not yours. That's what I tell him. I said we're talking about tires, but not your tire. I think he had an issue with his rear tire or something he was sensitive about, or conscious about it, I should say, because he mentioned, yeah, something going on with my tire. I said, no, we're not talking about your tire. You can see I'm in zone 1. The watts are low, about 120 watts, they're about a little below now. So we're not really riding hard yet. For me, until I get over 250 watts, I don't consider myself to be working very hard. And that's what, from my experience with the power tap wheel that I used to have, that's what I had noticed. I think my CP was close to like 300 or something like that. So I'd have to figure all of that over again with this new unit because my fitness is different. So if you're going to train with power, it's a little more complicated than just looking at numbers. If you want to maximize the use of the tool. I'm standing here.
This is the kind of ride we used to do in the winter.
Yeah.
Build the base. And in the winter, sit in, spin, build your fitness.
This is a good part of the ride where if you haven't been training, just sit in and spin. That's what I'm telling Paul. It's a good ride to build your base. See, the watts are gone up. This road is a drag. Even though it doesn't register the grade, it went up. Now we're going downhill. See the watts dropping. So it was very consistent. And DC Rainmaker did a full review on this thing, and he compared it with several different string gauge power meters, and it tracked consistently with them. So it's for real. You're gonna see the numbers on the power meter flip, and then even though my cadence says 0 at this moment, because I was soft pedaling or 1, 2, 3 strokes, then stopping. So the unit is like, okay, I'm gonna show this, even though your cadence went back to 0. I'm gonna show what you did in those few strokes. That's what's going on, and that's why you really don't want to watch it all the time. You can see it on the handlebar there. It's underneath. Very, 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 very stealth. No one noticed it. I like that about it. I like how I mounted it below the GoPro head unit. I created a combo mount, and I think I talk about it in the review. I started some of the filming when I was setting it up. See the watts going up as I stand again and start moving. Then I stop pedaling. Then I do it again. So the unit was flipping back and forth. And when I looked at the data when I got back, it kept up. It went back to 0. I did a review of the jersey that I'm wearing because that jersey has a story. Love the fit. There are a lot of retro jerseys out there, a lot of companies selling retro jerseys, but this company, Pulling Turns, really does it well. It's a UK company. They fit well. They look the business, they feel the business. See how the pockets are up and raised? Yeah. That's how a cycling jersey is supposed to fit you. Look at the waist. That's how it's supposed to look. Those pockets are loaded. Nothing's moving. We did almost 7 hours, something like that. Crazy riding Saturday. We backed off the intensity because our week was crazy. We did a lot of work around my home. I got a lot of help from Paul because people wanted an obscene amount of money to do like power washing and stuff, and we have a power washing unit, so we just used it. This is a slight drag. I like to stand on something like this because I wanted to stress my body. You can see the watts going up. Heart rate's going up also. This is the jersey that Greg LeMond wore. That's his number 17 in 1985 when he single-handedly assisted Bernard Hinault's bid for number 5 wins in the Tour de France. It was that race that I saw using the famous cycling videos back then. It used to come in VHS. That made me buy his book, The Complete Book of Bicycling, and a year later I started racing bicycles. So Greg LeMond was very influential in me getting into serious bicycle racing per se. Because he has some awesome rides. That's the best way I can put it. I'm looking around that guy so I can see the road. So I did a review of the jersey where I talk about it in detail. And for those of you who may want to get copies, they have the Juiz Belan and Cast Team and, Solo Speedia, all the old teams, SCIC, and they do them really well. That's why I like them. So I've got like the U.S. national team jersey coming, the Stars and Stripes. I got the one that LeMond wore, the actual one with a Renault Elf sponsorship on it when he won his first world championship in 1983. The U.S. The team jersey with all the stripes, and then I've got the national championship jersey for the U.S. team. I guess it's the current one because I like the Stars and Stripes. This country stands because we are united. We can have our disagreements, but you mess with us, we band together, just like any family. We're approaching Magnolia here. And there will be a split. Mike's up there at the front. I see Max with the purple jersey. Max likes to force the pace every time he comes to visit us. So it was no different today. I'm in the mid-pack here with Paul. Paul's on my left. I'm on the right.
He comes around and calls me, where's your buddy? I said, my buddy's right here.
That's Tim up there. Tim is riding a bit off the front. And I think Max and them are going to join him in a little bit. There's a lot of debris on this bridge. Usually further to the right where you see Lulu in all black is, there's more crap there. So I'm staying a little to the left of Lulo. Paul's on my left near the white line. There's a split. In a little while, I'm going to ask Paul to give me a gap so I can get up there. I wanted to see what this power meter will show right there. I have Paul give me a gap. I checked for traffic, and I wanted to see. See the watts? 597. So that means I didn't go that hard because I've got, usually 700-800 or so. So this, yeah. So that's dropping because I'm already closing the gap. I guess I went too hard to get up there because I got there quicker. You see the watts? That's the power in white on the left. The bar. I'm already there. I've reached up. And I got there and then I realized they weren't going too hard. So I was like, okay, so 500 something watts got me to zone 4. So let's say 600 watts zone 4. So if you're going to train with power and then you balance it off with heart rate, it will teach you that as you get stronger, what will happen is next time in the future, 500 something watts will maybe only get me to sweet spot. That's how you know your training is working. I just said that as a gauge. Those of you who use power meters, that's a way to look at it. The power is down. You can see it says 0 watts. I'm just soft pedaling. I'm behind them. And then when we get to the curve, I end up launching an attack. I want to see what kind of numbers showed up. I think somewhere around here, see 0, my cadence is 0, then it's going to pick up. You see me probably pop to the left. There's max over there. There I am. Now I'm going. And I use cadence. I've gone around the front. Boom! I open a gap. I snuck away. They didn't expect that. And the power is it's not as high as it was up there. You can see I only got to 400 watts. But the gap opened quickly. I'm up the road. So that little exercise just showed that with the power meter, 400 watts on a downhill curve, flat to flat, got me in 30-something miles an hour. Whereas on the climb, 500, almost 600 watts just to close the gap to them at a lower speed. That's what you get to see. So if you're holding 400 watts on a flat road, you will get a lot more speed than 400 watts going uphill. We've talked about that, not about power necessarily, but it takes more work to get speed against the resistance of a hill or a road. That's why a lot of weaker riders struggle in the wind or up front. You gotta work. There's no drag. So right here, I'm talking to Doug about the testing of the units. So he asked me if we calibrated. And then Paul told me later that Mike here on the left was trying to get my attention, but I didn't hear him. I was engrossed in the conversation. That's Dan and so he wanted to know if I had calibrated the thing. I told him yeah. Because once you set it up, the calibration is critical for the unit to work accurately. And I found the instructions to be straightforward. The unit did fail to pick up my speed sensor the first time, but on the second try, it did. Once you have successfully calibrated it just works. It needs to be recharged every 20 hours of riding. I have an extension for the USB God, because I don't want to take it off the bike just to recharge it. I will take it off the bike and change it. Bike is for these rides. I don't plan on using it as a train. Like I said, it will be on the channel. I feel like I'm in a lab. Right. I I'll be going hard when I need to go hard, so I don't need to go angry. Abby's light is twisted to the right, off the bumper. This is a new frame. It's got a chartreuse accent on the solid black frame. It's got discs on the light. I'm in, I believe, second position here, up the road behind Doug. The road's going up, that's why you see my watts going up. Once it's flat, the watts drop as you get closer to the draft. That's something you could play with your power meter. When you find the draft, you'll see your numbers drop. And then you know, hey, I got a good spot, whatever, if you want to do that. I just know that I feel when I'm behind somebody, I'm in the right spot. There's less wind blowing on me. You know, I don't need a meter to tell me that. So there's so many good uses of a power meter. It helps you fine tune your training, focus your training. It's really useful. But I think you should use it for your highest quality rides. There are days where you don't want to go to the pros. There are days where they will take over the SRM display because they can't get rid of it on this little head unit, the SRM itself. They take it over because they don't want to see it. They want to go ride. I like the Garmin because I can set up a training page that does not have all that on it. And I also have a training page that has only 2 displays, 3 displays. Certain times of the ride, that's all I want to see. Cadence. Cadence and heart rate. Or cadence and speed. Some riders will only display power and speed. It's easier to see anyway because it's larger. Text. It's larger. 2 kilometers up the road, this guy comes out in a pickup truck from the right. He stops at the stop sign. There's a railroad tracks are behind him. As we get closer, then he goes across the road. Because the other side cleared up. Like we weren't there. It wasn't super close, but it was a bit hairy. It was unnecessary. That's the kind of stuff when you do that in front of another car in your car, they'll blow their horn at you. Because even though you're not super close, you shouldn't have done that. Close enough to cause them to react. If you know what I mean. So, it's not courteous. It's not necessary. You see we're going 36 kilometers an hour. Look at my watts. 9 whopping watts to 33 watts. But my heart rate is 151. So the watts jump all over the place. The heart rate stays a little more stable and moves up gradually based on the effort you're putting out. When you're doing a lot of sporadic bursts of speed, the heart rate jumps almost like a power meter. But when you're riding steadily, you hold. Now the power meter will hold steady if you're at the front and you get up to speed where you're holding. But here in the pace line, the speeds are changing as this road is a little undulated. That's why it's all over the place. When we get to where we're going up, it goes to 180 or 200. Now look, it's a 50. That's why I don't look at it. You drive yourself crazy. Suckers all over. After you get home, yeah, that's when you look at it. Or if you're doing a time trial where you're not stopping, then yes, it's useful. And you'll see that later when we get on Jackson Road. Well, that's the guy with a pickup truck on the right there. In a little bit, he's gonna go across, see? And we were close. And these guys on TT bikes come by, they're passing, I don't know who they are. And then Mike in our group decides he wants to chase them. First of all, I'm sitting in second position at the time when he decides he comes by and says, let's go get them. Well, the problem is we don't know who they are, we don't know where they're going. So in my mind, I'm like, why am I gonna waste my energy to get him? Because there's Mike. He's going by there. He said, let's go get him. Paul got a great shot of him here. So I didn't go with him. Tim ended up going with him. So the two of them go. Doug got on Mike's wheel because that's him behind Mike as they go around us. So Doug just used the draft that they provided. I stayed where I was. I did not change anything I was doing. You can see right now it says 0 watts. I'm just coasting. Well, actually, I was riding for some reason. I was not putting out any power. But anyway, I did not participate in that because for 2 reasons. I don't know where those guys are going. So what if they turn right up there? Because there is an intersection coming up, maybe a couple of kilometers up the road. Where you can go right to 149 to go east. We're going straight on Jackson. So if you waste all that energy to chase strangers you don't know, and that throws off your ride, that made no sense to me. So I did not participate in that foolishness. So our pace have changed. Now we got our group gapped. You know. I just stayed behind Doug, and Doug wisely just got behind Mike. You don't get to see it, but Tim went into no man's land trying to bridge up to those guys, and the wind hit him. And it was like he hit a wall. He could not make any progress. So it's like we basically started catching up to him. So needless to say, they never caught those guys. We could see them the whole way, and we saw them when they turned. You know. That's why riders in the know don't go around chasing people for no reason. You know, if you're doing an interval and you want to use that as an impetus, that's fine. There was no point to that. I didn't see any branding on Abby's bicycle, which I thought was kind of nice. You know, it seems like it was sleek. There's no logo or anything on it. Almost like the few weeks ago when the guy came with a purple bike. Just no branding on that either. That's nice. I moved out into the lane to let there's a vehicle behind us. I had already looked and I let him know we're going to use the road. We're going straight. Those guys have already turned. We can still see them. They're going on 149 east. So if we had wasted all the energy to catch them, they turned. So I'll go to the front and go ahead and take a pull. I'm looking behind. You see, it's just 25 kilometers an hour. Just right here's the bump. I'm just keeping us moving. Right at about 20 miles an hour. I figured I would give everybody a chance who was struggling back there when they decided to chase those guys. Everybody catch their breath, get in the baseline. I didn't realize that right here we're doing 37. You know, I'm doing everything by feel up there, just kind of nudge it a little bit. When I get off the front in a little while, everybody says, good job, good pull, whatever. And I was a bit surprised. I said thanks and everything, but I was surprised because I didn't feel like I did anything up there. I just did not feel like myself necessarily today because after taking off most of the week to do chores around my home, I really was off my normal routine. So my body just felt, the cycling felt a little foreign. But I didn't realize I was going at 35 kilometers an hour. So I need to set up a screen to work because I had a lot of crap on that page that I had displayed. I've got the time of day and, you know, other things on there, temperature and this and that. And depending on how the display is, the backlight goes to sleep after 15 seconds. I thought I was doing 30 kilometers an hour here, and it turns out it was 35. No wonder the guys were saying, good service. Even Mike in front of Dave here, when I drift back by him, he said, "Thanks for the service, sir." You know, kind of joking about it. I didn't realize I was pulling at 35 kilometers an hour, because that is a decent pace for this group. It's just hard enough to where people work, but it's not killing anybody. And that's what it's about when you ride with a group, you know, for this purpose. We're not playing right now. So right here, the road goes up, you can hear the wind, it picked up. In a little while, I'll pull off the front. I think I'll pull off the front somewhere here. I figure it's a large enough group, I didn't need to sit there too long. I pull longer when the group is smaller. Yeah, I'm off the front. I pull into the wind so they can come on my left and still have shelter as they go by. This is where everybody's telling me good pull. Tim pulls off the front. We roll through. So if the wind is coming from a certain direction, that's the direction you pull off into after you're done taking your cuts at the front. So you shield the group as they come through. The reason why the wattage is saying 0 is because I'll pedal, then soft pedal. So it's trying to calculate. Now it's displaying what my wattage is. Because I'm not really putting down the power since I'm drafting so well. And we have a -1 slope, so it's a little less than a flat road. Now it goes back to 0 again. And so that's why you don't want to be looking at this thing, because it'll drive you crazy. See, I'm soft pedaling, goes 0. It's doing its best to keep up, so I give it credit because it's using speed, slope, wind, and if I'm behind somebody that's not that much wind, then you know right now I see 0, 0, 0 RPM, 0 watts, which makes sense. So it does a good job, really. I was very impressed based on how it comes up with the numbers and the different things that it's using to calculate. And they have a display that you can add to your Garmin. It's like an add-on app, which Garmin, it's called IQ Connect or something. Like Garmin has a mobile unit where you can add other things, other apps. That's Abby back there. Other apps to the unit that doesn't come standard. I added their display that shows the wind speed. So that's a nice little feature. It lets you know how much wind you're battling. So if the wind is in your face, it displays it as a negative and then gives you the speed of the wind in whatever units your head unit is in. Mine is in metric, so it's kilometers per hour. So it's good to see the speed of the wind. So I set up a page just for that. So Doug's done pulling, he pulled off. And he pulled off to the left because at this point the wind has shifted, and it really doesn't matter, but just generally you want to pull off in whichever direction you believe the wind's coming from the most. You see it says 144, so my watts are going up because this road goes up. It says 1%, and you're working. So even though you're in the drive, when the road goes up and you gates it a bit, you still have to work to get yourself up. That's why on the hills, drafting is not that much of an issue or a serious advantage. So the white bars on the left is the power, and the green bar around the cyclist are my heart rate readings. So if you don't want to look at the numbers on the box below the RPM display there where the cadence is, you can just look at those bars and see when the power goes up or when my heart rate goes up. Makes it easy to keep up with. So we're doing about 22 to 23 miles an hour into this wind and with these slopes. Road going slightly downhill, putting out minimal watts. I'm soft pedaling, it drops to 0. So since it's smoothing the display, it figures you're not working so hard here, you're working very hard here. Sometimes it stays at 0 when you do a lot of soft pedaling or coasting. That's what I've observed when I observed the data after I downloaded it. So I will definitely be using that software later to just really get familiar with the different ways you can look at the power data. This road's going up here. Now look at the power numbers. Where the draft is not that big a deal because the road's sloping. You've got to put out power. Almost 300 watts. So you have to pick a terrain on your hard days that will make you work without you thinking about it. And similarly, pick a terrain that will keep it easy on your rest days. We're still going up. The grade's changing, but we're still going up. You can see it visually as well as I can feel it here. I'm not putting out the same watts because this slope is less. You can see it says 0 right here. So it can go up, it levels off, then it kicks back up again. You can see that in the distance. It's kind of how climbing mountains are. See how soft pedaling there? It dropped to 0 watts. So its accuracy is there. So that was good. So DC Rainmaker did a great job on it. I will put the link to DC Rainmaker when I do the review of this. For those of you who want a full review of the thing, because he's already done it. No point in me reinventing the wheel. Because in my review, I'm just going to show what I went through when I set it up. So at this point, the speeds are varying based on what's going on. I don't know if it's Max that's at the front. I don't know who's pulling right now. It might be Max. I like this road. Look how pretty that is. That was Max. Yeah, he just pulled off. So we approach 1486. That's what intersects Jackson Road on the north side here. You can see the watts go up. That's 1486. We turn right. Mark's looking to make sure that everybody is together because there are gaps back there from those last few climbs. Dave's shaking his left wrist. He got numb. If your hands are getting numb or anything, then we're all together here. That means that something's off with your fit. You shouldn't be getting numb hands because you're riding a bike. Mike goes to the front. I think he takes a pull. He goes ahead and takes the lead. On this side, 1486 takes us to Mount Moriah Road, newly paved. That's the road that Paul was showing last week from the north side. We're headed south on it. This time we're going in the opposite direction. That's Mike back there, and Dan is behind Mike. The effort's low here because this road leveling off. It's going to go downhill. Or you see that car in the distance. We're going to drop down as we approach Dobbin. This is the part of the ride where you can eat, drink, you know, kind of get your bearings, because really the effort is down. I like this stretch of this road. It's real beautiful. You see the pasture on the right that we're going by. People got their private lakes for their animals. It's always quiet out here. Everything is beautiful and green. We had some nice rains when these fronts that came in and cut down the humidity. And we needed them. In that curve, the road kicks up. So I make sure I'm in the appropriate gear as we approach. So Mount Moriah Road is coming up. There are some really bumpy railroad tracks that we'll go across. We cross the tracks and we turn left to go north on Mount Moriah Road. These are the tracks. We check for traffic. We take the road here. The tracks are not smooth at all. So when you come across stuff like that, you want to stand and make sure you go across at 90 degrees and don't get caught in any of those little holes. We turn here on Mount Moriah Road. This road is newly paved.
You haven't been?
It's basically 2% grade here. I run the credits here. Paulie Longa, Joe Nanga, Reed Saif. Thanks for supporting the channel like you do. I want to thank all the channel members. I want to thank our patrons on Patreon. Those of you who are not members of the channel, consider signing up to support the channel you love. So we're working here. All of a sudden, somebody twisted a screw. I just wanted to stay in the draft. This is 35 kilometers into a 150 something kilometer ride, so I keep my cadence up because we've got a long day. So Doug accelerates on the left. He's on his TT bars, so he didn't get in the line. And of course, Max has to keep up, so the pace starts to lift. I believe that's Max up there. So I hope you got a chance to get out this weekend. If you didn't, get up, move around, get on the trainer, keep your body moving, go for a walk. The body is a machine. It was engineered to be used. Don't let it sit idle. You can see we gapped those boys back there. We're spread out all over this road like homeless people. So right here the power's off, so I let Paul know. No point wasting your energy. There's a stop sign coming up, and as we go across, this is a store I did not want him to stop at. There's a gas station on the right with that blue stripe on the thing there. We didn't need to stop. It's too early into the ride, a little over an hour.
Oh, yeah?
So we're gonna go straight, and we end the filming here. So keep those doctors fired. Get your K's in.
Stop pedaling, so stay on 0.